What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Backpacking Black. We are at Red Slide Park here in Haw River, and Haw River's actually behind us. I'll do a little loop around so you can see everything a little bit better, but this is one of my favorite places to, come chill out. If you want a nice place to go for a walk, there's plenty of walking trails. You got access to the river down there if you want to just stick your toes in and relax. I don't know if I'd fish from there, but it's a very enjoyable place. So highly recommend you coming out for that. And I've actually got some thoughts on my mind that I've been meaning to make a video on, and hopefully you guys will appreciate it. We're going to talk about how to pick the right motorcycle for you and some of your options. So let's get it going. Oh, it is a warm one today. It is like 85 degrees, sunny, windy. But yeah, you can kind of see it from here. The river's right there past that tree over there, and then of course you've got the iconic overlook there with the old smokestack. But super nice place. We've had a couple things here before, just family get-togethers, things like that. And I highly recommend checking it out if you want someplace just kind of nice, easy, and casual for a fun day out. They've also got a disc golf course here too. If you're into that kind of stuff. I don't know if I'm any good at it, so I'll have to, assume that it's a good golf course, or a good disc golf course. Putting too many words together. Alright, so the short has been out here for a minute, so you guys may have seen that one. But I went to the Yamaha demo days at Capitol Hill Power Sports in Raleigh, and it was a super fun day. Only thing that I was disappointed about, I had one other bike that I wanted to ride. So that was the only thing. They limit you to 3 total, so just be aware of that. Some places I imagine are different, but in the case, I got surprised by it. But I'll play the clip, and we'll have a little bit of a discussion on that. So check out the short. I'll play it right now in case you haven't seen it. I'll see you in a second.
Just pedal the metal. Then look in my eye like I'm about to fly. My enemies sound no. So get out of my way now. I'm taking the weight down. I'm shaking the whole ground. A whole nother level. Oh, I don't know about you, no. Oh, I don't know about you, but me, I'm the best, I'm better. You spell my name in all capital letters. Mama said I always was a go-getter. Won't settle for second rate, no, I want better. Best, give me the best.
Alright. So, that was the short. Those are a couple of the bikes I rode. Then I showed a little bit of everything that they did have there. They did have the new R9, which was pretty cool. And so, from a beginner's perspective, which one of those bikes would I ride? Well, I'll be honest with you, it depends on a couple things, what you kind of like and what all interests you. So I'll give you my 2 cents, because it was the first time that I had ever been on a complete sport bike, and it was the first time that I'd ever been on a cruiser. So 2 very different experiences, and I'll let you know what I would pick as the winner, just based on my couple experiences there. But we'll start with the one that I probably enjoyed the least, and that was the Yamaha Bolt. So I want to say this, that there is nothing wrong with the Yamaha Bolt. Perfectly adequate little machine, and some of the builds that I've seen done with it are pretty sweet. It's got that old air-cool feel to it, and it's got the rumble. If you were kind of in the market to try and get something like the Iron 883, which they don't make anymore, shame on you, Harley. I would highly recommend checking out the Bolt. But all that being said, one of the things I don't recommend with it is if you're looking for something that's spirited. And this is just the nature of all cruisers, right? So to begin with, you sit really low, which for beginners is pretty awesome. When I was sitting, the first time I got on, I was like, man, there's not a whole lot of room for you to drop this bike, because if you do, your legs underneath it. I mean, it's got great clearance for that purpose. But yeah, so that was the nice thing is super comfortable. Cannot fault it for that. The power's all right. The demos didn't really let you open it up very much. I think we may have gotten up to 55, 60. So, you know, every bike at that speed is acceptable, just about. And in some cases, they might even be more enjoyable. I've heard the old adage that it's more fun to ride a slow bike fast than it is to ride a fast bike slow. And in most cases, as long as you have a kind of a mid-range bike, yeah, you're pretty well set. So, a couple other things that I didn't like with it. It got hot, and not like my bike gets hot too, but those air-cooled guys, like, woo. I hope you have like some thick pants, or you know, just something that's going to keep you away from that heat, because it got toasty quick. And so yeah, I mean, it was a fun little ride. I can't fault it for that. If I were a cruiser boy, I'd probably be into it, just because the price point's there. A Yamaha is bulletproof in terms of a lot of their, what that was in the road. But yeah, Yamaha's awesome in their quality. So they just, again, it's a great bike if you're looking for a beginner cruiser, I think. But again, I'm not about that life. Like, I want to be comfortable, don't get me wrong. But the biggest fault that I have, I like leaning my bike over, and obviously I could do a better job on that. You could probably see my chicken strips in some videos, but again, you could get my bike way far over compared to the Yamaha Bolt. And not to tell too many stories outside of church, but I may have scraped the pegs on the demo ride, just because it was that low to the bike. You know, I was like, oh, well, you know, I got some room to lean over. No, you do not. You do not have any room to lean over. So just be aware of that if, you know, the spirited riding aspect is kind of what you're looking for. So let's see here. I think that's about it for the Yamaha Bolt. Again, perfectly good cruiser. I thoroughly enjoyed it for what it was, but you just gotta be about that life. And again, if you want something you can crush some major miles on, that's the one I'd probably go with, just because you can ride it all day and not get sore. And I have use for that, but at the same time, I need some fun too. So again, highly recommend the Yamaha Bolt if you're wanting to get a cruiser. And it's been around for years and years. You've got plenty of aftermarket support for it. Do whatever you want with the bike. So that I personally think that one's a solid. But moving on to the next bike, I will say I did not. I rode the R7, and I will say this: the R7 is interesting, and I'm curious to know how it compares to some of the other not so super sport bikes, as they call them nowadays. So you've got that one comparing with the Kawasaki's 650 Ninja, and trying to think what was you've got the Honda 650 something or other, even my bike. But again, mine is a naked bike. You're gonna sit up way more upright when you ride this bike. So I'm just curious what the positioning is for the other bikes. But in the case of the R7, it is not what I would consider super comfortable. It is very committed. I mean, you will... the best way that I can describe it is if you don't mind your elbow touching your knee. That's where what you're going to get. Your elbow is, you're going to be that committed. And again, that's why I'm not sure if the R7's just more in line with that spirit, or if the other, 650 platforms are a little different, a little more relaxed. In terms of the performance of it, though, it is peppy. I will give it that. That 2-cylinder that it's got in there is pretty impressive. It's got all the low-down torque you could possibly want, and I really enjoyed the actual performance of it. And you can get that one leaned over way more than you can my bike. So I mean, it's a tough call. If someone said I could have one of those, either the R7 or the Bolt, I really don't know. Again, it's just that difficult of a call. Because on the one hand, I like being able to ride. On the other hand, man, you want to talk about having to be uncomfortable. By the time that we were done riding the R7, my back wasn't hurting, so don't take it that way, but I was ready to get into a different position. Now, to be fair, I'm not 21 years old. Maybe I'm just old and out of shape. Very likely. But if I had to pick, just because of the type of riding that I do, I would probably go with the R7, just because I don't ride quite as long as someone who might want a cruiser would. Part of me just wants to reach out and grab her hand. Just be like, boop, boop. I would get in trouble, I'm sure. Someone would be upset. But anyway, don't let the intrusive thoughts win. There are a lot of those on motorcycles. Maybe that'll be a video. Anyway, so the other one that I wanted to bring out that I rode, that to me it's the clear winner, and it's not because it's got more power. It's the best all-rounder. and that is the XSR 900. So as I'd mentioned, I wanted to ride one other bike, and that was the XSR 700. That is more in line with what I ride in terms of the power, and probably closer to setup. But I didn't get to do that. They only allow 3 a day. So, you know, what are you gonna do? But the XSR 900 has the best of both worlds, in my opinion. I will say you probably need to replace the seat, just because it was not super comfy. But it had the good enough ergonomics that if you like to have the sport bike feeling, it's close. Obviously you're a little bit more upright, but I just went by a place that had one for sale, and they had a triple tree clip-on setup with it, and if I didn't have this bike, that might be the one I look at. So, just a thought, you know, if you're, the XSR 900 is not a beginner bike, by the way. I think I would be okay on it after riding for, it's been about a year and a half now. But, again, to me, it was the most enjoyable. And I know this is probably saying something, but both of the engine's a little different. I've grown to where I'm really used to having a triple. So having this little bit of whine and wind up is, I dig it. But that's what I would suggest is get you a naked bike. Life's more fun if you play naked. You get the best of both worlds and get to enjoy everything. So, well guys, let me know what you think. If you want to see more content like that, I'm gonna get out of here. Hopefully I'll have some more content up for you here soon, and you know, follow, like, subscribe, all that stuff, and you know, share it if you find someone who might think this is interesting. All right guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Later.